Then I always want to get better at, and I already learned a lot. Yeah, I'm Olga. I am Senior Product Marketing Manager at Cisco Placetel. And as Igor already told me, a lot of you probably had the same start as I had. My story, for example, is I started from scratch in product marketing a couple times. First at Stepstone and Total Jobs, which is one company now, then at Cisco, and I'm sure a lot of you actually had the same start. So I would like to see hands who actually had to establish product marketing from scratch, who had an experience with that. Yeah. So yeah, great. Then a lot of you already had that experience. And what you do is when you have to establish the entire product marketing from scratch for the first time, you go through several steps. So you want to make sure that you also prove the value, because sometimes it's really not really supported from management or from the company itself, because people don't really understand product marketing. So you really need to prove yourself and make sure, that the people understand why product marketing is key for success. So I'm going to guide you today through some steps, 4 different steps that really show you how you can establish product marketing pretty well. And before anything starts, usually I found also myself in this kind of situation as Michael from The Office, where you feel like you understand nothing, because you actually do understand nothing in the beginning, because you don't know the product, you don't know the people, you don't know the processes. So you, first of all, before you do anything, you need to start observing, and you need to just really make sure to do your due diligence. So you really talk to tons of people. So you talk to all your different stakeholders that give you the information that you're looking for naturally. So you gather all this information about the product, about people, about processes, and make sure that you understand what's going on, like what's actually the status quo in the company. And this way, you will naturally also find the right stakeholders that are important for you, because not all the stakeholders are crucial or for your success in product marketing. You need to identify which ones are the ones that you need to work the closest with. So this could be, of course, product, marketing, sales, customer service, whatever is in your company that is really tied close together to product marketing. You need to really get together and have close relationships that you create. You make sure you have one-on-ones, because in the beginning it can be really overwhelming. There are a lot of new people that you don't know, all this information that you don't know because nobody told you. So you need to make sure to also talk to different kinds of people who started new in the company, people who have a fresh mindset, are not biased, but also you talk to people who have been in the company, for example, for a longer time, because they know the background of some products. They know the history, why maybe you're lucky and integrations. It's everywhere. You just are really interesting. And then when you start from scratch, usually what you're looking at is a lot of chaos. People are not talking to each other. Timelines are not aligned. People are not aligned with each other. So what you need to do is you need to understand what's going on. What's the current status of the go-to-market, and how is the go-to-market done right now? So you are trying to look at what is really working, what is missing, what is maybe broken in terms of timelines, and you are the product marketeer. So you're constantly the glue between all these different stakeholders, making sure everybody's talking to each other and making sure things are running smooth. And also, in my experience, what was one of the biggest challenges is to align the timing to the right timing. Because what happens usually is you have a bad timing. The people are maybe giving information to the wrong stakeholders, maybe to the right stakeholders, not as good as you want to, because assets are not on time, messaging is maybe not on point because you don't have enough time, being because you got the briefing from product too late. So you are in charge to actually make sure to align the entire timing among all the stakeholders to really, make sure that you have a successful go live at the end. And also, of course, you need to do the competitor check. What I usually do when I start from scratch is you need to understand the product. So what helps you sometimes to understand the product is look at the competition. What are they talking about about the same product? Because there are companies that are doing already what you've been doing, or maybe better, maybe worse. So it's always to have a comparison and to see how are they doing. You can get some ideas. What I also sometimes like to do is you just make sure that you look at other markets, because sometimes it's better to think out of the box and to understand maybe some things like, for example, we saw from like the sports industry, maybe they're doing something really cool and interesting that I can use in tech or in IT for my messaging that I saw somewhere. Which actually, for example, last time I was at the summit in the audience in London, and I was listening to some things that Uber and Spotify was sharing, and I got some of these ideas and tried to implement into my product marketing. So it's always to look around. And now that you actually are on top of everything, because you got to know everything, the products, the processes, the people, now you really need to be the helicopter, and you need to be really on top of everything, because you're the glue, as I mentioned. You need to make sure to tie everything together and make sure that the whole system is running smooth. So what you need to do as a next step is you really create your system. And your system is really your everything. That was my experience. If I lose my boards, I'm screwed, because this gives me the entire transparency on everything that is going on. Because as you probably know, if you're in product marketing, you have a lot of stakeholders, you have a lot of timelines, you have a lot of agencies you're working with, you have a lot of people that you need to inform, then you have less changes, and then you need to inform them again, and then the timing changes because product is late because of a bug, and so on. So it's a never-ending story, and you need to make sure to create those boards to actually show the transparency to the business, because it will help you later on to not be the one who has to be going to everybody equally and inform them about a time change, for example. They will see that in the board. We, for example, we work with Notion. It's been a challenge. I had to get into it, but I love the tool. And whatever you use, I just always recommend probably use the one your company is already using, or because it's hard to implement a new organization tool, as we all know. But definitely making sure that everybody has access and everybody can really look into your system. And make sure also to involve the right stakeholders at the right time, because it's not good to involve all stakeholders everywhere. It's just going to create a huge mess for you and for them. So you need to really make sure to also explain to them what is helpful and where their benefit is into actually using that board or that system. And then you go out and you spread the word. You spread the vision, because you need to really excite people, and not only your customers or your B2C, you need to actually excite your internal people as well, because it's going to help you later on. You need to gather all the people and excite them, and they will help you to have a later easier buy-in for your rollout, for maybe new ideas that you have in the future. So it's now time to also, when you established everything, people know you actually know what you're doing, and then what you usually do is you have a lot of ideas, and you want to change everything, and you want to change everything at once, but you cannot change everything at once. You can actually be creative and innovate, but you should not be like a bulldozer and go in and change everything, because nobody likes change. When you join the company, they want you to actually keep the things that are going well, even, at least at the minimum level as it is right now, but better. So what you need to do is really keep the machine running, because you need to create trust, and you need to make the management especially trust you, to have the freedom later to implement new ideas, to be innovative. But first you need to adapt. So what you do is really you have the things that are going well, maybe pick a couple projects that the management is maybe prioritizing right now, and that are you can have success with it. Pick that up and prove that this is actually how you do it, prove that it's going well, so you have later the buy-in to do maybe new ideas and to be really bold and creative, and then they will trust you to actually be able to do that. So, for example, you can do that with anything. You have a new idea how you do it with the process. Some companies, they're really strict with how the process looks like in go-to-market, and it's really hard to break that apart. But you have to try it, and to maybe if you have a better idea how to realign the process, that could be something new that you do, or maybe some new way of launching, maybe some new idea, like you want to do like a podcast, for example, when a release goes out. And to be able to implement that new idea of a podcast, you will have then an easier buy-in by doing other things successfully before that. And of course, you do, you plan, pitch, execute, and very important, you report. And there we actually pick up on Elliot's presentation, tell the story, because everybody loves a good story. As we just heard, I love a good story. Nobody wants to be told only the truth, but the truth. But people want to have these, releases that are very technical, that are not amazing, exciting, and it's hard to do like a story with the product maybe that is not like a sports topic, or fashion, or beauty, where you can work with images and emotions. You can also do that here in digital as well, in tech, but you have to make sure, don't be shy and be the cheerleader of product, because that's what you are. That's what you're hired for, to make sure that these things are going out. When you've done them, you put launches and releases into stories, and you embed everything into this great story, as we just heard. Because it is also important that you involve the management on that early. I had an experience when you create this amazing story, and you want to go live with it. Sometimes what happens, if you don't involve management into it, management maybe not approve your story. And then they say, no, actually, that's not the focus that we want to have this on. We want maybe some other focus, because they have some other background. So what you need to make sure, you involve the most important stakeholders plus management very early on, before you create any of your fancy, cool stories that you think are super exciting. You make sure you do that early, so you have later the buy-in and nothing goes wrong when you are right before go live, and you can actually sleep and not be restless. And make sure to be constantly visible. So my current boss, he gave me that tip, to really be visible all the time, because that's also how you get the proof, how you prove that your things are working, and how you really make sure that the business sees the success of product marketing, because you are constantly there, putting it in their face, in all hands, in town halls, and anywhere you have internally the option to shine. And make sure you present all these really cool things that you've done that are successful. And then, you're actually done. But we know we're never done. So what I actually wanted to remind you here, and it's all about not only establishing from scratch, it's really also proving to the business how important it is, because in my career I was fighting constantly to really prove to the business how important product marketing is, to get budget, to be supported, to grow a team, and all these things. So you really prove to the business that product marketing is key by really presenting all the work that you do, and you don't stop. You launch this amazing product. You don't stop with the launch. You need to do the after thing, the follow up. Actually show how well it went, and how well the product launches were, and how successful they were based on KPIs. Show revenue. Maybe you had a promotion, and you can see on the numbers how revenue went up, and how the KPIs of opening rates and traffic and all these different things on these measures, you can actually show that to the business. And also the business will see that everything what was a chaos before, they see that people are talking to each other, people are all happy, they are having the right timing. Go live is not a stressful moment anymore where people are absolutely stressed out. So actually people are excited before a product goes live. And that is actually at the end how you really prove value to the business, and that product marketing is key for success. Yeah. You have any questions?
Thank you, Olga. I would definitely say that the key takeaway here would be really do talk to everybody, and definitely know when to include someone. Not to have too much people on everything, and not to forget anyone, because that's not also a very nice thing.
Yeah.
Okay, what metrics would you track first to prove value when establishing the role?
If you have promotions, I would always track revenue, and to see how you affect revenue. Because if you show that you affect revenue, that's the key driver for any management team. Then you will be supported right away.
Have you successfully improved collaboration between product and product marketing in order to better align timelines during the GTM process?
Actually, I had an experience where I came from a really large product organization, and now it was a quite smaller one. And what we did is we really had to create like briefing templates, for example. We wanted to make sure that the briefing that we get is really on point and we have no misunderstandings. So really having one-on-ones with product, for example, the key product managers, I make sure I talk to them every week, so I'm really aware of what's going on, and to really grow the relationship between product and product marketing, because that's the one that is the most important.
New systems and tools may involve behavioral change. How do you drive adoption of these systems among your stakeholders?
I think what helped the most was showing people what's in for them. So when I showed to my colleagues and stakeholders how their life will be easier and happier when they help and support using a certain system and certain board, or giving me feedback on some things, working together, they really adapt, and they really start using it, because you show them how it is better with, and their life is easier, so everybody wants that.
You've mentioned Notion. Are there any other tools you're using for the system?
So at the moment, I don't know. I think mainly we really try to use Notion, because what happens is when you have so much alignment, all the information just gets lost in emails and Excel files, PowerPoints. So we really make sure to have that in there. But of course, we also we use Miro when we brainstorm in meetings. But right now, I would say Notion is my favorite, because it's just very, it's really well for having an overview and really work with it.
Okay, the PMM role is seen as the glue. That's very true. Some teams may not see it that way. For example, product managers, B2B sales. How do you change that perception?
Also, again, we're going back to showing what's in for them. So when you will always have resistance. I mean, sales will always be the one who complains they don't get enough support. That was everywhere I worked, and it's just I think it's really being the person that they can talk to, and that you kind of like also the therapist as well. So having chats with them and ask them, so what's wrong, and why can't you grow revenue in your department right now? How can product marketing help you? I think it's about that, really talking to people and make sure they are heard. I think that's everywhere where you go. You just have to make sure people think they are heard, and then they will go along.
Okay, we'll do one more. How do you bring marketing on side if they're not interested in product, just top of funnel lead gen through leadership?
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
How do you bring marketing on side if they're not interested in product, just interested in top of the funnel lead gen through leadership, thought leadership?
That's a hard one. Well, I think it's always to work with examples, probably. That's what I would do. I mean, also I'm really early in my career. I have some experience, but this is also something probably I would need to learn in my career. But what helps me really is usually work with examples from the past, how you did it before, to get people on board. Yeah.
Yeah. I would just maybe add, as someone that went from product marketing to heading the whole marketing department now, and to maybe glue the first and the second session with this question is tell the story to the marketing, tell the story about the product, tell the story about your customers, and that's how you engage them in really using the information that you have, and focus on the lead gen, focus on the thought leadership, but really with a really good background of the product and the story that you're telling to them. Thank you, Olga.
Thank you.